makeup wasn't even known in Bangalore that much. I think I played a very important role in Bangalore for people to really see the power of makeup. The problem, Shobhna, is that people think they're never going to get out of the situation. And they're not ready for change. There's a huge difference between wanting to know and knowing. And as a mother, you can draw your boundaries. As a wife, you can draw your boundaries.
Hi Gauri.
Hi Shobhna.
How are you today?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing very well too, thank you. So today we have this really fascinating mother, and more than anything, her own personal journey has been so inspiring. So I would love to welcome you, Gauri. So
Thank you.
Why don't you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Gouri Kapur, and I'm a makeup artist now, a makeup educator. And what we predominantly do is bring the confidence back into women.
So Gauri, let me first begin with your motherhood side of the story. So you have 2 children, am I right?
That's
so why don't
correct.
you please introduce them?
So my elder one is Mahin, who's 30 years, going to be 30 in a month actually, and the younger one's 25.
So not children anymore.
No, they're
young
almost
adults.
men, yeah.
Yeah, they're men. Actually, they're men. Okay, lovely. So Gauri, you have been in the makeup industry and it's been many years. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started this journey and what was the initial inspiration that got you excited about this journey?
So I got married at 18.
Oh, I didn't know that.
18
okay.
and a half. I was studying, and I think after my 12th, I was always about, I wanted to do something. And so my first job was a merchandiser at 17. And then in a year, I decided to get married at 18 and a half. And I think once we got married, it was more like my husband said, do you want to have babies? And I said, hell yeah. And, and I love children.
Right.
I love children.
Right.
So I think it was just at 19 and a half, I was, at 20, I had mine. So I was a mother at 20.
Wow. Yeah, so young motherhood. And
Very young.
How did you feel about motherhood at that age?
I loved it. I mean, it was a new experience. We didn't have the internet. You didn't really know what you're getting into, what you're gonna go through. But I think when you're optimistic, or when it's a decision that you've taken, you enjoy, not really enjoy every bit, I would say, but you take everything in your stride. It's not that.
And probably it's a good thing that you did not have the internet, and maybe too much of information also plays with your head.
I agree.
Right?
I'm so glad both the times
Right.
we didn't have internet.
Okay. So then you had kids. So the first child was at 20.
20. And so I started at 22. It started hitting me that I need to get back to doing something.
Right.
And you know how it is when life has to take its course. It's just that I used to look at these magazines and I used to see all these actresses so well done up, and me being the creative person that I am, that I have to do something creative. I need to create something, it's like, give me Abibi. It's like, it's just not makeup. Give me anything. Give me a house. Give me anything to decorate.
Right,
Though I'm
right.
into the bridal industry predominantly.
Right.
But it's just about that. So I got into that and I looked at it, and as destiny would have it, I happened to see an article, and then I went to Bombay for a 20-day course, which turned out to be 40 days. So my son was about 3.5 years. And so that's when I took my largest decision of leaving him behind in Bangalore and moving to Bombay. That was the first time, actually. So, and then I came back, and the rest is history. Started off
like that.
And then, Aman was, I got pregnant with my younger one when I was 24. And that's when I started the career. And I was like, damn, I just started my career. How do I do this? But, it was like, I never wanted to abort or anything. I was like, meant to happen. Let's enjoy it.
Let's take that as well. With
absolutely. Let's just enjoy it.
So you said that you were not ready for your
second one.
Am I right? How was the mental preparation? Because you had just started a brand new career that you were really excited about. At the same time, you heard the news, and I know you didn't want to abort. So there was this mixed feeling that would have come up, right? Where you do want to have the child, but you probably don't want to have the child. How did you navigate that feeling? I know I'm going way back in history, but it's...
No. I mean, so basically, agar naturally nikal jata, it was different.
Right.
So I tried. मैंने कहा papaya खाती हूँ. Oh, my husband had a bike at them. I was like, take it on the hardest bumps. कि कुछ ना कुछ हो जाए, and it's like naturally निकल जाए. And then he was.
I love the honesty.
He was just meant to stay. So after about 2 weeks or something, मेरे को याद नहीं अब कितना time था. And I was like, Rajan, this is just not happening. He's meant to happen. So let's just do it.
Let's just
You
go
know,
ahead.
and I think it's about taking a decision.
Hmm.
It could be the hardest decision of life, but when you make up your mind, then
It
you're
is
in
what
it.
it is,
Then you're
right?
in it.
Then you're
Yeah.
in it completely,
Yeah.
right?
Then no complaints, no nothing.
I think it's just that moment of accepting, right?
Absolutely.
And then
it's all
once that,
acceptance.
yeah, it's all just that.
acceptance.
Okay, so you said you just started your career, you got inspired and you took up a course, left your son behind. That shows that you were really into it at that moment and you just started. So, what was your first step into figuring out where to begin? Like, it's a very, very competitive field that you chose.
Not when I started.
Oh, okay.
Makeup wasn't even known in Bangalore that much.
Oh, is it?
It was more Bombay and Delhi.
All right. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So, I mean, people knew about it. It was more for the modeling industry, the film industry,
Got
where
it.
makeup used to happen. But
For the bridal?
yeah, considering that I've been doing this more than half my life. I'm 50 now, so 20s, almost 26 now, 25 and a half.
Right.
So, you know, so people still, I think I played a very important role in Bangalore to for people to really see the power of makeup.
So you were the reason why makeup became the big competitive industry that it is today, that I'm talking about.
I think I was just in the future way before. That's all. Just read it way earlier.
So I have seen the beautiful work that comes through your beautiful hands. It's literally magic. You transform people like an artist. It almost could look like a person was wearing a beautiful mask. You can just define or change the person's look completely. So how did you go about that skill or that learning?
I think, Shobhna, for one, what fascinated me, we all have masks on. This was a mask that can change the way you feel, the way you look, the way you present yourself.
Right.
Right? And it is a very powerful mask if it's used well. And I think that was, you know, when you're younger, you don't really realize what draws you into something.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, if you're making a life choice at about 18 or 20, you don't know how it's going to work out.
Right.
But it's just that there's a little thing that keeps telling you, you got to do this, you got to do this, you know. And I think that's the only thing that's worked for me because I've always been connected with myself. And I have listened to my inner voice. And when you're listening to your inner voice, the clutter is cut out. There is clutter. I wouldn't say there isn't clutter. But as long as you can keep the clutter at bay, when you know it's your decision.
Beautiful. So you said you've always been creative. So did the inspiration start young? As in, were you an artist when you were a child?
I think I was just creative.
Okay.
And at that age, there weren't too many avenues to really show your creativity. We didn't have, and even makeup. I mean, of course, you know, you're married, you're a housewife. It didn't matter. It was a risk I was taking. If I was the one who was a sole earner for the family, I would have probably, I think that's another thing because I, as a creative person, had the freedom.
Right.
You know, to make certain decisions without being affected by the outer circumstances.
Fair enough. I think that's really.
I think that's what really helps you grow to be the best version of yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Lovely. Well said. So, you had the opportunity to take something which was pretty new to the Bangalore market, and then there were certain steps that you would have done in order for it to become popular or for you to achieve that shining career in this field. So would you be able to probably share a few things that you think you did differently that made you stand out?
So when you're starting something, Shobhna, nobody knows anything. Trust me. Nobody knows anything. It's just that will to keep going. I started at what? I was charging $500 a face, you know, to date. And I'm still on the top. Yeah. You know, so obviously if it wasn't my passion, it wasn't something that I do from my heart, it wouldn't have survived.
Right.
If I was just doing it for fad or I want to be something who I really am not, it wouldn't have worked. So it was an extension of who I was, and with the dedication and passion that I used to do every job, I think that's what really worked. It's like the energy you bring into everything, the energy you bring into your work, your home, your kids, or whatever it is. I think it's the energy that worked because my energy was very focused,
wholehearted,
focused, completely.
Okay, so at this moment, while you were working with so many different, let's say, verticals in the
industry.
in the industry. So you had a bridal that you were working with, which is not in the
I
industry.
coincidentally started bridals 4 years later. So Shobhna,
Oh.
when you're in a creative field, it's not
Okay.
that you have success. In any field, you don't have success overnight, let's be honest. But in a creative field, you have no idea what's coming your way next.
Right.
You have no idea what you're going to do next.
Right.
So I started off with portfolios, and eventually when people started seeing how makeup can make a difference to someone, that's when it got popular. And I don't remember right now, I can't recall, but I was doing someone's shoot and they said, do you do bridals? I said, I haven't, but
I can do it.
I could do it. And that's how my bridal journey started.
Understood.
And I think I've got half of the Bangalore married. Because at that point, kitne makeup artists the? I was like the third one. I was the third one. Though the ones who were more into the modeling industry.
Right.
So then after about 4 years, that's when my name really picked up. And people
Got it.
started talking about me, because by then even makeup had started becoming
popular.
Yeah, popular.
in-
So people were like, no, for makeup, it's just Gouri. You have to go to Gouri. So that's how my name picked up. And I'm glad, Shobhna, because there was no internet at that point of time. So whatever I am today, whoever I was, has always been through word of mouth. And that itself as a creative person is the biggest achievement, because
It's a testimonial.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a, yeah,
Absolutely.
it is the real testimonial.
I do miss that. I do miss that at times with this internet era right now. It's crazy. Because when you see something, you really don't know how authentic it is anymore.
Right.
You don't know how good a person is,
Right. Fair enough. So you have worked with a variety of different women and girls. You have...
And men.
Oh, and men.
Yeah, I've done Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Virat Kohli.
How is it working with them?
Deepika, so I've done it for Deepika. Deepika's also trained under me for her own makeup before she was going to Bombay.
Right.
So Anushka, Katrina, everyone's got their own personality, and I think now when I look back, all of them had that fire within.
Right.
Deepika definitely had it. Anushka had it.
Right.
Katrina was one off, so I didn't really,
interact much
with her. And then, of course, the men, and I've done the royal weddings. So being a part of that was, and I also feel, because as you keep scaling up, your work is the same. Whether a Shobhna is sitting in front of me or whether a Deepika Padukone is sitting in front of me. For me, I'm going to do exactly the same, the best that I can do on your face and the best I can do on hers. But I think Deepika as a person is a beautiful human being, and she always had that spark in her. She always had that drive in her.
To move forward into something more exciting,
larger,
and something larger
bigger
in
than
life.
you.
Right.
When something's larger than you, then you have a purpose.
Purpose in life. Very true.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What does it feel like when you're sitting in front of different facial structures, right? You decide, when you look at a person, they look like a canvas at that moment to you, if I'm not wrong.
They are.
I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it in a very artistic mode right now, because you see a face, that's a canvas, and they all have different shades, they all have different shapes.
Right.
And what comes out is an imagination or a visualization that you probably picture in your head, right?
That's correct.
So when a person comes forward and tells you what they want or what they don't, do you feel like there is a lot of curb on your artistic side of things?
I think it does come in, but initially when makeup started, people didn't know much about it, so they didn't have much to say.
Got it.
Right? By the time I'd established myself, people started trusting you.
Got it.
So there was lesser interference.
Got it.
But yeah, certain film stars, who would come and say. But I think eventually, when your work speaks for itself,
then there's as you rightly said, I think initially maybe either there are people who do not have much knowledge. So yes, anyways, the trust goes in the artist's hand. And for others who do, they have worked with you in the past or for the first time, the word of mouth takes it forward and the trust is already built. So
absolutely,
I think if they work on your...
Right now, Shobhna, there's so many people who come to me for makeup. I mean, mothers, divorced women, single women who are really going out, the younger girls who are really going out to make their careers.
Right.
I mean, these are the people, and I love kind of training, mentoring them to look a certain way. It's not, everyone wants to look good, but it's how you look good.
Right.
How do you look effortless? How do you look like I am not trying too hard? That's me. That's an extension of me.
Right.
That's my personality, and I'm not changing that with a mask.
Got it.
Now, what mask are you putting on?
Right.
That's what I train for,
And how do you decide on the color? Since you said you were creative always, but there are, like, as an artist, your mind works very differently, right?
That's correct.
So when you look at a canvas, and by canvas I mean a face. So when you do look at a canvas, What is your thought process on how do you choose, or how wild do you go, or how subtle do you go? Does it depend on the the situation, occasion? I'm sure that the environment
Situation,
decides it.
occasion, of course, is important,
Yes.
but the personality.
Okay.
The personality. Now, if I take you and I paint you like,
Red.
completely out, let's say red, you'll be like,
Yeah.
who the f is me? So, I mean, it's not, I mean, I can take you and make you look, I mean, you need to look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, wow, I didn't know I could look like
this way.
So
So-
that's what I like doing. And for me, I think that way, being a creative person, being connected to myself, being perceptive.
So you basically also do the internal works
Of
in
course.
a way,
That's
because
what-
that's exactly what you're referring to right now. When you're looking at a person, you're also looking at them beyond their face. You're looking at a personality. You're looking at a nature. You're looking at
absolutely.
what they showcase outside and bring the best version out.
Like recently, I had this girl who was going for the Mrs. India. So she was going for a pageant. Now, for a pageant, it's an extension of you, but you still need to look glamorous. You still need to, So how do you bring in, how do you get the natural confidence within?
Got it.
Can I just tell you, Shobhna, makeup laga le, confidence aa jayega?
Nahin, there has to be.
There has to be work around it. There has to be a
Right.
belief that I can. And how does the belief come? When you look in the mirror and say, yeah,
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing. Now, there are certain people, when I'm bitching over here, but when I go to other shadis and, we do the bride or something and the other people come in, I'm like, holy shit. I mean, is that makeup? Because itna loud hota hai. It's not about kitna lagaya hai. You're not paying a makeup artist to,
pour out.
Ki sara makeup kit mere pe laga do, then you're worth it.
Ye 6 layer hai.
It's what, yeah, it's the knowledge, it's the talent, it's what works for you.
True, very nicely said. So, how was it to manage your motherhood journey in this field? Like, you were probably called for late night bridals, whether it is a modeling industry or whether it was a film shoot or a marriage. All of these were pretty late in the night. How did you manage as a mother? Was there a support system that
I think
you
that
had
way
in
I've
place?
been really lucky because I did have a support system. I was living in a joint family and I love the whole concept of joint families.
Okay.
So I did have a father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law,
Oh,
and a husband. So I had an entire family who was taking care. But also being a mother, you have a role to play, and I think I would be blessed and I would tell anybody who's getting into a creative field, success doesn't come soon, doesn't come quick because it's slow, but the amount of time you get to balance. It was easier if I had a 9 to 5 job, let's say. Would have been harder for me to balance my life with the kids. यहाँ पर था कि एक हफ्ते में, let's say I'm working 2 days, 3 days, दिन से लेकर रात तक कर ली. And there were times you just go and you're back in like 4 hours. So the kids don't miss you much. And anyways, when the kids are younger, I think every mother, this is for every mother, also think what makes you happy. What makes you need to be happy within to give that, to share the happiness, whether it's with the family or whether with the kids, right? So when I've finished that and I know the next 3 days, so Shobhna, what's really worked for me, and I hope this helps the other mothers, when I am in a role, let's say I'm a makeup artist, I'm completely immersed into that. There's nothing that's around me, what's happened in the surroundings, चाहे किसी के साथ झगड़ा हुआ है, whatever, I'm just giving an example. That's not interfering when I'm working.
Right.
It's just that's my focus. When I'm with my kids, that's my focus. The whole world can go, can fall apart.
Yeah.
But for me, it's my focus is that. It's the same way. I think it's just about the energy that I've put in. So in a week, if, as they say, if you're giving quality time to the kids, I had enough time to be able to give quality time to balance out my life.
Fair enough.
For work as well as
so you
family.
were you actually took the decision or the initiative to balance it out in such a way that you were able to give time and play the role.
I disagree with that. I didn't take the decision. It's just that I wanted to do it and I had to learn how to balance it.
Fair enough.
And I think that's something we're not really taught how to be mothers. We're not taught how to be good housewives or anything, actually. We learn it along the way.
Right.
We learn it along the way.
We learn it along the way. And I think different systems work for different families, journeys, and mothers.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that this really did wonders for you, that you were able to figure out that balance and time and then make it a part of your routine and your children's.
Yeah.
And you have been through a divorce,
Right.
and as much as I understand, it would not have been easy for you or the children, or even your husband. What was your life like before? What were the transitions that you felt during, and how do you feel today? How was the whole transition or the journey that has transformed you as a person as
I
well?
think when you're newly married, I was really young.
Hmm.
You think your life's going to be like this forever.
Hmm.
You just think that life's going to be, you know, you really don't think that shit is going to happen when you're
Because
younger.
you're younger.
When you're
Right.
younger. So when things happen, I mean,
Mm.
obviously change, now you realize at this age that change is the only constant. But at that point, it's just hard to accept certain changes.
Mm.
But it's also the choices you make. I think we are all the outcome of our choices. So I think like the kids grew up, and dealing with the kids was just speaking my truth,
Mm.
just speaking my truth. And I do believe that if you bring up the kids in a certain way, give them all the time, you don't really need to give them 10 hours a day. Give them that 1 hour of constructive time where you
It's
can
the
actually,
quality
the
of
quality
time.
time.
Mm.
And that has really, really worked for me. So when it did happen, yeah, it was hard on the kids, it was hard on everyone. But speaking your truth, and having the kids understand your truth,
Mm. That's most
I
important.
think that's the most important.
And I think honesty works wonders, right? I mean, and
Absolutely.
children, we feel that we want to keep children away from certain kind of such decisions because we think they won't understand, or we think that they're too young to understand. But I feel that if, I mean, this,
Involve them.
please correct me if I'm wrong, that actually making them a part of those decisions, talking to them about it, and being completely honest, they surprise you.
Not that you can be sure that they'll understand,
Hmm.
but you hope with due course of time they will,
They will.
because they also maturing, you also maturing. Let's be honest, I'm 50 now and I still have so much more to learn. It's not that I've learned everything.
Right.
You'd never know what life might throw at you.
Right.
So I think that's a part of the journey now, that even kids are understanding. And touch wood, I think my kids have been amazing, and amazing support. Shobhna, what I feel in my life, there've been so many ups and downs in life that I have made the kids a part of everything.
Right.
And I think through that, involving them, they've grown up to be stronger, more matured, sensible. And I do like the idea of involving them in certain things. I mean, you obviously have to keep the discretion as to where you involve them and what you don't. But, what is required is required.
Right.
Because I feel as soon as there's there's a breakup, or at that point you might say it's easy, but I've always been about family.
Right.
So for me, I think, and it's very important that the woman holds the family together.
True. Very true. Yeah. And I think women have that knack, right? I mean, they have that bit of I don't know, the emotion side that drives them to be more sensitive and empathetic towards
I think emotions are good, Shobhna. It's just how you work with your emotions to make it your strength.
Right. So what's your biggest strength? What would you say is yours?
I think now, dealing with my emotions. Earlier, I didn't know. I wasn't so good with it.
I don't think anybody is. I somehow feel, I mean, after a certain age, I'm sure you learn the way of life, and you learn through experience.
I think you learn how to keep the emotions at bay. The ones that are not required, you learn the knack of not letting them interfere with your life.
Right.
Versus the ones which are important, because emotions are important.
And they're
your success depends on emotions. Your relationships depend on emotions.
Right.
So I would never put that at bay. But having the right emotions, that's where what makes you smarter as to what you want to deal with and what you want to keep away for a while.
All right. And what do you think today, after so many years, is something that you would like to change about certain things that you did, and maybe you look back and say that, okay,
nothing.
Should have done differently.
Nothing.
I like that.
Everything's a learning. The good is great, and the bad is also a learning.
It is.
So kuch bhi nahi hota, and now I'm into astrology. So you realize that certain things have to happen at a certain time for a certain reason,
and that helps with your growth.
Pass. That will pass.
And it helps with your growth individually.
The problem, Shobhna, is that people think they're never going to get out of the situation, and they're not ready for change. So acceptance, change. I think these two are the most important things. The moment you accept from your heart and soul, you are ready to accept anything that comes your way, and nothing else around it should affect you.
Right. Beautiful. Well said. So, what's the next stage, Mata Gauri? Are you looking into something more beyond what you do today?
Well, I don't want to just die being a makeup artist. I am a makeup artist. That's what's made me who I am today. But I love educating. I love teaching women how to. It's just not the art of makeup. Makeup to anyone can do. Even a 5-year-old, you tell them makeup laga do, foundation lagao,
आजकल
ye
तो
laga
सभी
do.
करते हैं.
Sare karte hain. But the point is that how you do it. And how is that really making a difference to me? Is it just makeup? It's also, so, I go beyond makeup. How do I know your personality? How do I know when you come to me? I want to help women understand their potential.
Okay, lovely. So,
If you're taking care of a child,
right.
See, the point is, that's what I say. It's important to make the right choices. And let's say you've made a wrong choice. You think you've made a wrong choice.
Right.
How are you committed to that choice? Are you being truthful to that choice?
Okay.
Are you rebelling that choice? You know what I mean? I would say take the wrong choice, take the right choice, but be truthful to that choice you make, the commitment you make.
Okay, right.
And then give it your 100%. And then, if that doesn't work, then you can back up and say, chalo, I tried. But did I give my 100%? So, that's what's worked for me, whether it's been in my career, whether it's been my motherhood, whether it's been a daughter, wife, whatever. It's a role that I've played and the commitment I've given to that role in my capabilities.
Nice.
So then you don't have any regrets.
Right.
मैंने तो पूरा दिया था.
मैंने तो सब कुछ किया है.
सब कुछ किया.
नहीं हुआ.
And also the main thing is, अगर आज गौरी के पास कुछ है, what is it? The name she's earned for herself.
Right.
That is the only thing that I can actually call my own.
Right.
बच्चों की शादी हो गई, उन्होंने चले जाना है. You're single right now. Today you're married, tomorrow you're not.
Right.
Doesn't matter, but what you hold for yourself. So I would urge every mom, whether you're a working mom, whether you aren't, find something. Find a purpose for yourself that you can stay committed to.
As a part of your upcoming phase, I have seen that you have launched a new venture.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's about empowering women. It's about understanding who you really are, bringing out the confidence, not just externally. Makeup to koi bhi kar sakta hai. Makeup that suits your personality. Makeup which is an extension of your brand, of you, as
Right.
you. As if I'm doing it for Shobhna, if let's say I go all out and I make you look completely made up, but is that Shobhna? So you need to do it in a way that
makes you
enhances
brings
you elegantly.
Right.
Not like I'm trying too hard to be me.
Right.
It's not that I was born like that, but how am I presenting myself to the world? Right. So I think the right thing is the alignment of the internal versus external. So if you're working on just the external, which is just makeup, that's half a job done, which is not going to be very convincing.
Right. Fair enough.
So what we're doing right now is I've partnered with Rohit Seth, and he's a branding and comm expert, and he's one of the best in Canada. And so he takes care of the internal, whereas I take care of the external. And of course, he will give his inputs and I would put my inputs in the thing. But the whole thing is the package that it gives you, that you rediscover yourself in a different way to be able to bring out the best in you. And that's what I enjoy the most, because every woman is powerful. They just don't understand the power. Every woman is beautiful. They just don't understand their beauty.
Right.
And that's what I love doing.
That's beautifully said. You're right. I think that's where the confidence builds in. That's where once you have self-confidence, you have the motivation to do bigger things which are larger than you, right?
There are lots of women who come and wo sochte hi rehte hain, but they're like, oh God, we look at you and oh my God, the way you carry yourself. I said, you know what? It's easy for you to do that too. No, we're not made for that. You are this, you're that. I'm like, no, you can be that too. It's just how you're training yourself.
It's in you. You just have to bring it out.
You have to bring it out. It's the words that you're speaking to yourself. It's the confidence you're giving to yourself. Can I do it? Of course, nobody is prepared for anything.
Right.
But it's the confidence that you have within you that we tap into and bring it out.
What you do is actually bring out the beautiful personality that's been locked inside for a long time.
Correct. Which has been bottled up.
Right.
Which has been bottled up. Which you're fearful of letting out.
Correct.
And because of what? People's opinions, what people would say, it doesn't matter. You are you. This is your one life.
Right.
Be the best version of yourself.
Okay, so Gauri, I know this has been a really long journey for you. So can you tell me the one time that you felt was your most beautiful creation when it came to makeup?
Oh God, I've done so many. I've done so many, and I think
Your most favorite?
no, every creation was a challenge. Every creation was a challenge. Every face was a challenge when it gets to. And I think I have pushed myself the maximum when I've had my professional makeup workshops.
No, okay.
That's when the students would come up with bizarre looks, and I would like bring it on, bring it on. Get me the most difficult look, so I can push myself as
Right.
well.
Okay. They challenge
They
you.
challenge me to be better, so I can make them better.
Beautiful. Wow.
And
Yeah.
I think those were the most amazing moments of my life, because we've had a makeover which has lasted us 8 hours, and
Oh,
that poor
wow.
model had to sit for that long. But it's more about it's not about bringing out her personality, it's about bringing out a look.
Right.
So
Right.
that was completely different.
Different.
That was
Yeah.
completely makeup oriented.
Correct.
That was completely creative, complete art.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I have.
So your biggest learnings and excitements come from the newer challenges that come
Yeah,
your
I mean,
way.
what is life if it's the
With the-
same thing? It's too
Right.
boring.
It's too boring.
It's too
Okay.
boring. And that's why I like to do different things. Or
Right.
it's not about what you're doing; it's how you're reinventing yourself. It's 25 years I've been a makeup artist. Now I'm a makeup educator. We're speakers, for conferences where we're actually talking about self-confidence, how you're aligning your internal, external. So I as a person also am growing, because I'm not going to keep doing that for the rest of my life. I have to bring out my experience, my knowledge for other things which can make people more aware, more in sync with themselves, I would say. I think the biggest strength of mine was I was connected to myself. And I feel the biggest weakness right now is when women are not connected to themselves.
Yeah.
So that's why we do it internal and external. As soon as you connect with yourself, and once you realize and you touch that spark again, then it's ready to
Then
glow.
it's ready.
And
Right.
that's fun, right? So,
That's
Shobhna,
the
that's
that.
fun. Make up the way मैं कहती हूँ, कोई भी कर सकता है. But it's how it's done.
And I think the people you work with, the moment they are able to make that connect, it must be a very satisfying journey for you as well, right?
Absolutely.
Being
You're
a
giving
part
more.
of that.
You're giving more. I'm giving my knowledge.
Right.
जो मेरे को 25 साल लगे हैं to gather, that I'm giving it to you right now.
And you're empowering somebody immediately.
Exactly,
I mean, you don't have
exactly.
to wait or go through ups and downs like
In a short period. I wouldn't say
short-
immediately, but
okay,
yeah,
short period. Shorter than the 15 years.
Absolutely. It's a course. It's a course.
course.
And in the course of time, you will come out of it feeling better, coming out as a newer personality, more connected with yourself.
Right.
And I think that's what's important for each one of us.
Yeah.
Each one of us.
If you're not connected to yourself, then what are you anyways, right? Yeah. So I think beautifully said.
Yeah.
How is your relationship with your children today? Now that they are grown up men, do they come and share what's going on in their lives?
I think the relationship with my kids has always been beautiful. Always been beautiful. I've enjoyed my journey bringing up my kids. I've enjoyed being a part of everything. In terms of the little happinesses, the little achievements, the big things. Like my elder son went through accident where we wouldn't even know if he was alive the next day.
Oh my
And
God! When was this?
This was when he was 16.
Okay.
And that was something which was hard on me as a mother, because the whole world thought that he's never going to walk again. He may not even come out of it normal. But I think it's a faith that I had that it's just a passing phase and he's going to just emerge just fine. So when I was in the hospital and people would come and meet me, and I would smile and talk to them, because knowing, I mean, see, there's a huge difference between wanting to know and knowing. When you know, you believe in the knowing rather, it's just more powerful. And I think that was my biggest experience, where I just knew he's going to be fine. The world could say whatever they wanted to. They could come and say, "Oh God, she's a mother. How is she even smiling through this?" You have no idea what I'm going through. You have no right to make a judgment as to what's going on in my life. Not that you really say anything, but
it's the way
at that moment you just
the eyes say it or the body language says it.
And at that moment, as I said, you do not really take those things to your heart, because it doesn't really matter.
Right.
My knowing is more important.
Right. course.
you know. And it took him 4 years to recover. And today he himself is a psychotherapist, you know. But but at that point, I think it's the world that makes it more difficult, and it's you how you emerge. It's not about you emerge. You're not doing anything for the world. You're doing it for yourself.
Right.
And how you bring up your kids and how anybody's bringing up the kids is none of your business, really.
I think every mother puts in their best anyways. When is a mother ever thinking any differently for their child? They will always think.
But Shobhna, here I would say best also matters in terms of the way you think is best and the way you put it on them.
Correct.
You
And
know,
it's
if you're imposing the best on them, they're not going to accept it.
the children.
You know, the children are not
Okay,
going to, anything that's imposed, even if you're in a relationship, even in a marriage,
Right.
anything that's imposed is going to be rebelled against.
Which is true.
So there's
I think
a tact. There's
right,
a tact in
tact
the way,
of-
and the tact also comes in knowing how your child's personality is. You know, so I'm saying there's so many layers that women get so smart at overcoming, which I think every woman should.
so the phases where your boys were growing up, and there must have been times when you were also in the thought process that this is okay, he's happy about this, but I'm not sure. How did you communicate or bridge that gap? You want to tell the child that it's not okay what he's doing, but at the same time, you know that coming the way you bring it out, or you don't want to be imposing, like you said. So, what was your trick of probably bringing it softly to them?
I think somewhere you let them burn. If
like
they got to
that.
burn their hands, burn it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You're not listening.
Yeah.
So hard jala ke seek lo.
Seek lo. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I can't do beyond that.
Right.
I'm here as your support system. They're going to live a life that they're
they are
meant
living.
they're meant
That
to
is
live.
true.
Right?
Very fair.
So
Yeah.
all you can do as parents is be a support system. What else can you do? अगर मैं impose करती रहूं कि नहीं, this is wrong, they're going to go more towards that.
True.
So, you know, that also has to be done tactfully.
Exactly. So, in a way, if they are heading in the direction that you don't recommend, you probably just say it, I'm not sure about this. And they say, no, I still wanted to go ahead. And then you say, fine, experience it. And then they come back and you still welcome with an open heart, saying, okay, now we have learned from it. So let's move ahead.
So because they already know, and you don't want to turn around and say, I told you so. Because
Yeah.
they already know it.
I told you so.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
that's the.
So I never do I told you so, because
Yeah.
they have learned, and that's exactly why they respect you more.
Correct.
Because,
Because
you
the
know,
moment
yeah.
you say, I told you so, they don't want to come back to you. You're trying to show them that you know better. You're not trying to give them the space to learn and grow themselves. So I think that I told you so is a strict no.
Yeah. With anybody.
With
With
anybody.
anybody.
Lovely. Since you were in this glamour field as well, the family that you had with you, were there times that you took your children along with you to experience this side of the world as well, the glamour industry?
Oh,
Were there occasions when you took them with you?
I think now, as they're older, not when they were younger, because I never really had them. But you know, when I started work, मैं घर से शुरू किया था, तो बच्चे घर पे ही थे. You know, but when you're working, you kind of, you speak to kids that mama's working, and you expect them to understand. And you know what? When kids are intelligent, and as a mother, I feel the first 12 to 15 years, 12 years, I would say, 11 to 12 years rather, it's all right to sacrifice shit. Because that is going to take you a long way ahead. Whatever training that you can give the kids before 11 or 12 years is what they're going to keep with them for the rest of their life.
Right.
You know, at that point, so I would say those years are crucial for children to understand what their mother really wants, who she really is. And as a mother, you can draw your boundaries. As a wife, you can draw your boundaries. And you need to. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just involving yourself so much that you don't know when to back off. And that's what really drowns women. So the first thing to understand is, what is your boundary? You know, with kids, of course, they're allowed to, that's different. But as long as, you know, when I was working, I used to tell the kids, baby, now mom's working. Now you got to be here and whatever. And they would respect that.
Right.
And there were times they would come, and that's all right. You're taking 5 minutes out, but at least you know they're respecting the fact that you're working.
And there are times when they also come back and say, how much more time will you take? Which again
is
shows a sense
fine.
of respect
Absolutely.
in itself.
Absolutely.
So yeah, well, very well.
And they adjust themselves. They get calmer. They get more sensible.
Right.
So, you know, instead of turning around and saying, no, my child just doesn't let me work, that's not it's your fault. It's your fault. You're not training your child well.
Bad job.
Bad job.
No, so you're right. I think when the child, most of the times what happens is when mothers are really involved in their task at hand, they get so absorbed in it, they do not want a minute second of disturbance. So if a child comes during the time when they're really absorbed with something, they snap back. That happens because obviously you do respect the work that you're doing. You are expecting your child, who is a small baby,
To understand.
to understand and respect it equally, which is, I think, the part where it gets disconnected, because at the end of the day, the child is a child and needs the mother. Maybe at that moment, like you said, when you are working and the child comes in at that moment and wants to talk to you or express something, because children don't have the sense of patience, they don't want to wait for an hour to come and share something really big with you.
Yeah.
So they come running to you, and like how you said, you just spare 5 minutes away from
Pause
that
for
work.
5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes. Just take that pause.
Because you know what the advantage over here is, that 95% of your time is going into work. 5% agar tumne usko dena bhi hai is fine.
Big deal.
But
Yeah.
when that balance changes, that's
Right.
because you haven't trained your kids well, and they come in say 50% of the time, and that gets annoying.
That gets annoying. That does get
So
annoying.
I
yeah.
would say it's the mothers, the way you talk to your kids. Talk to them.
Express.
Talk to them like they understand. Right?
Grown-ups, right?
Like
they're
they're grown
mature
up.
and
And that works.
Right.
That works.
no matter the age.
No
Actually,
matter
even
the
a
age.
2-year-old.
I agree.
Even a 2-year-old, if you can actually have a word with them and tell them that, right now for the next 1 hour, I'm going to be busy doing this. The child will sometimes come and disturb. And you can also say that, just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I just need to finish this.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you. Just give me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So they learn
Yeah.
the art of patience. They learn the art of waiting.
And Shobhna, these are such important characteristics that children need to really imbibe, because, agar patience nahi hai tumhare life mein, agar respect nahi hai tumhari life mein for the other person, how are you going to grow up? Whether it's a man or woman, whether boy or girl rather, sorry, they're kids. They're going to grow up to be men and women.
Right.
And that's what's going to reflect on their marriage, on their kids.
And how they treat other relationships as well.
Before 12 years is very important as to way you're training your child, because
you're defining
it was
a
so
personality
important.
in a way.
It was so important for me because from the time they were young, I was like, they're going to be future men.
Yeah.
They're going to be fathers. They're going to be
husbands.
They're going to be husbands. They're going to have children. And what are they going to teach the kids? Agar main sahi na sikhaun, kal ko wo kya sikhayenge?
Right, absolutely.
So tomorrow they can turn around and, it's like anyone can point a finger at you. But the point is, the finger that's pointed at you doesn't matter if you know you've done right.